Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys I'm going to be doing another old school deck profile for you guys based on an old school deck, that being today 2008 TeleDAD. Now, a lot of players around nowadays may not have been around during the TeleDAD era, so I want to give a little bit of history and background information about this era. What was going on during that era, the history of the TeleDAD deck, how I came to build this deck in general, and why I decided to build this deck. So there's a lot of things I want to go over before I get into the nitty-gritty of the deck profile, and I think you would find that interesting. So first off, I based this TeleDAD deck off of 2008, late 2008 mind you, being pretty much November of 2008 and December of 2008. Before Allure of Darkness got emergency banned from 3 to 1, I believe it was. It's been a long time, so please forgive me. Also, pretty much before DAD got hit from, 2 to 1 eventually, and things of that nature. And I also based this deck off a couple of things. I based off looking up regionals pretty much, but especially the Show and Jump championships from that month of November and December, to get an idea of how people were playing about it. Different players play the decks differently. Some played zombie versions of TeleDAD, so more of a zombie engine. Some people play more of a hero engine. Some people play more of a psychic engine. Everybody played like a different type of way. As I look at all the different tops, everybody had different ways of playing their TeleDAD deck. It's really interesting. And TeleDAD is also one of those decks that it's kind of like hand artifact trap tricks, or Fire Fist artifact trap tricks from like a year ago. You look at the deck on paper and you say to yourself, this cannot work. This does not work. These cards don't go together. Same thing goes with the TeleDAD deck. You look at it out on paper and you're like, this does not work. But as you play with the deck and practice with the deck, you find that the deck works very, very well, which is one of the reasons why TeleDAD is up there with probably one of the best 3 decks ever to be in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I personally believe that TeleDAD is either number 1 or number 2 of the best decks ever in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe because I've seen TeleDAD decks beat, if they're properly piloted, beat Dragon Rulers, and I've seen Dragon Rulers beat TeleDAD, but I just feel like it's one of the number 1 or number 2 best decks in the history of the game. So at the time of 2008, guys, there really wasn't a lot of synchro monsters, so to speak, in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! At the time, we only had about 3 sets, so to speak, that synchro monsters were really out in. You had the Duelist Genesis, which Stratos Dragon was the cover card. You had Crossroads of Chaos, which had Black Rose Dragon, which was the cover card. So you had synchros out of those 2 main core sets, and you had Hidden Arsenal 1 that had just come out that November. So we do play a couple of the Hidden Arsenal 1 synchro monsters. So there really wasn't a lot of synchro monsters at that time to play around with. So yes, this deck was really fun to play with and build with, but yes, I just wanted to let you guys know that. It's pretty much based on that little small era in history from November to December of 2008. So first off, we have our 2 Dark Arm Dragon. Now, right before TeleDAD era, so to speak, we had another era of TeleDAD that people sometimes do forget. We had an era called DAD Return. So people kind of get mixed up sometimes, even I do. But you had to live through that. You pretty much had DAD Return, which pretty much used a hero engine and return DAD, and then you had TeleDAD when the synchro area was really in its infancy. And that was the deck that is more famous than DAD Return. That's why you see only 2 Dark Arm Dragons, because after DAD Return, Dark Arm Dragon got limited to 2. Semi-limited to 2, excuse me. So that's just a little history background. So on to the main core of the deck, guys. So we have 2 Dark Arm Dragons, very, very good, very powerful. It's so easy to drop and set up your graveyard to drop your Dark Arm Dragon. Sometimes what you do is you go double Stardust, drop the Dark Arm Dragon, pop, 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 and you have to keep in mind that priority was in effect at this time. You could draw 6 cards in your opening hand was in effect at that time. So the way that this deck functions, you have to remember that it functions in that era, that priority was in effect. I hate priority, by the way. I'm so glad it's gone. And you get to draw 6 cards in your opening hand. Really sets up combo plays for this deck. So your 2 DAD. Then you run for your, I guess you could say some of your tuners that you run, your psychic tuners for your E-Teles. You run 2 Kuribans, or as I like to call Kuribans, and what all my friends have called them throughout the years, is Tetris Man. Yes, His nickname is Tetris Man, just like Dad. Dark Armed Dragon's nickname is Dad. The abbreviation's DAD. So Krebon's nickname is Tetris Man. And then we run one Psychic Commander. I'll explain more about Psychic Commander in a second. So the reason why we run the 2 Krebons is so you can use your emergency tele, your e-tele, to get, if you have a malicious out on the field, you special summon using e-tele, go for a Stardust Dragon, which you have to keep in mind, Stardust Dragon and Go-Yo Guardian back in this time and era were like the most powerful things on Mother Synchro Earth. Very powerful monsters. There's a reason Go-Yo got banned back then, and there was a reason that even in that era of Synchro monsters, that Black Rose Dragon herself, Black Rose Dragon, actually got limited to 1, that people actually forget that. It was that powerful of card. But the reason I run the 2 Krebons and the 1 Psychic Commander is because it can help you go for different synchro plays depending upon your situation and what your flavor is that you want to do. A lot of players back then did run 3 Krebons and not the Psychic Commander, but I just like the Psychic Commander because he can come in handy sometimes. He really does. And plus it means I can use different synchro plays. But that's up to you to decide if you want to run this ratio or just 3 Krebons right off the bat. Then we run 2 Plaguespreader Zombie. This was a card, like I said, back in that era, people ran different variations of their TeleDAD decks because TeleDAD decks, DAD, Dark Armed Dragon was really expensive back then. So people, depending upon how much money they had and what cards they had, they built their decks differently. Some used more of a zombie engine with Zombie Master and Mizukis and things of that nature. So it just all depended upon what was going on in people's heads. Personally, I like the 2 Plaguespreader Zombie. A lot of people back then ran 1 of. You could run 2 of, and I really like the 2 Plaguespreader Zombie. It really, really comes in handy for, using it with Malicious, using it with, you could use it with Mally, which is the main thing you use to go into your rank 8 synchro plays. Sometimes you use it with Armageddon Knight to just make a quick, Go-Yo Guardian and then just wreak havoc. Really, really useful card. I mean, sometimes, depending upon your setup, if you've set up your graveyard with your Mally, your Mally, Destiny Hero Malicious, or Mally for short, you can pretty much go Mally, bring Mally out. So you bring your Malicious out, then you normal summon the Plaguespreader Zombie, go for a rank 8 play, activate Malicious again in graveyard, get the other one out, special summon that Plaguespreader Zombie, do what you want to, and then just synchro up for another level 8 play. Maybe drop the Dad if you had the Dad before you made the second synchro. I mean, there's crazy plays you can do there, guys. So, yes. The 2 Plaguespreader really comes in handy. I like 2 instead of 1, really. Just my player preference. Then I run the 3 Dark Destiny Hero Malicious. This is part of the Destiny Hero engine you run. Pretty much you run about, I would say about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hero monsters. So, yes. But Malicious really by far is the most prevalent one because you can use it with D-Draw, you can use it with Dark Grepher, which back then nobody really thought of the combos with Dark Grepher. People thought it was a waste of a card until this card came out, and then Synchro Monsters came out and the rest is history. But you can use it with D-Draw, which is Destiny Hero Draw. To set up, draw 2 cards, set up your graveyard with your Mally, Plaguespreader, etc., etc. But really, really good card. Sometimes you don't even use it if it clogs. Sometimes it can clog. I mean, that's the thing with running Mally in any deck. But for the most part, it's really, really good. Then for your other 2 hero monsters, we run 1 Destiny Hero Doomlord, or Dr. Doom as I call him, and 1 Elemental Hero Stratos. When was the last time you saw Elemental Hero Stratos in a deck profile? But yes, Doomlord, or Dr. Doom, is a very good card. It can help you get around problematic cards that are out there. Yes, you can attack that turn, but it was very useful back then to get around certain things. The other reason we run it is because it's another target for your Destiny Hero, your Destiny Hero draw engine, your Destiny Draw. It's another target. Yes, you're not going to get the benefit of it being engraved, but it speeds up the deck. So I do like it for that reason. Then you have the 1 Elemental Hero Stratos. Stratos had one main purpose, and that was pretty much to search out Malcat or Mally. you would pretty much go Stratos, search out the Doom Lord. So say you've gone through all your Malleys and you have a, your Destiny here, you have your D-Draw or your Destiny Draw in your hand at the time, okay? So you have this in your hand. Okay, I go Stratos, search the D-Draw, activate D-Draw, send the Malicious to graveyard, draw 2 cards, and I'm on my way. So literally I've thinned my deck out by searching and drawing, and set up my graveyard in the process. So, yeah, not too bad. Also, sometimes you search it out with Doom, search out Doom Lord, which was another target to get around problematic things. So yeah, those are your other one-ofs you run. Then on to your discarding outlets, I guess you could say, is one Armageddon Knight. This is the old one I used to play with way back in the day. This is not the one from the Tribal Force, by the way. You probably could tell if you can see the ink artwork. And then we have one Dark Grepher. Dark Grepher back then was a card nobody thought had any use at all when it originally came out, but people have eventually found uses for it. So Dark Grepher is really, really nice. The combo plays you can do are just endless, really, so to speak. So you literally could go with Dark Grepher. You could pretty much go Dark Grepher, pitch your Mally. Then what you could do is you could say, oh, I'm going to send Plaguespreader Zombies to the graveyard. Oh, now I'm going to reborn the Plaguespreader and the Malicious, go for a rank 8 synchro play. At the same time, I could dump something to the graveyard like a Necro Gardener to protect from being attacked if my opponent tries to attack me with a Goyo Guardian to run over my Stardust. You see the plays that this is going on with right now. It was really ridiculous. This card could really search up combo plays. You had, 2 reinforcement of the army at the time, so you could search it out and, do things of that nature. So the consistency was really there for this card. Armageddon Knight helped set up your graveyard. It was another out. Not everybody ran Armageddon Knight. A lot of people ran the Dark Grepher, and that was all. But I like the Armageddon Knight because pretty much what you can do is it could set up your graveyard. And also, it's a instant, for the most part, for the most 95% of the time, it's an instant Goyo Guardian, which can run over things and steal opponent's monsters and go for more synchro plays. So pretty much what you could do is you go Armageddon Knight, pitch the Plaguespreader, reborn the Plaguespreader, go for a Goyo Guardian right there, run over something, steal the monster, put it back on your field. Next turn, maybe summon another tuner, go for another synchro play. You get where this is going. I apologize if I'm explaining this deck a lot in detail. I'll explain why I know so much about the deck in the end. So we run that card. Then for your one-ofs, you run your one Breaker, which is really good. Pop back row, bring Plaguespreader, go for synchro plays. Yep. Your one, just a good standalone card as well. Your one Sangan for searching. Your one Necro Gardener, which was a card back then that a lot of people used in a lot of their decks. Some people don't understand why you ran Necro Gardener, but you had enough discarding outlets. It was, these two guys, along with Mally, were also crush card targets before you had the errata. So yeah, very, very good cards. Searching, protecting things from being run over by Goyo, buying you enough time to do things. So yeah, that's what Necro Gardener serves the purpose. Breaker, good standalone. Searcher, protector, can be searched up by Rhoda. Then you have the last monster, you have one Caius. Caius was in there just because a lot of decks you were facing at the time were dark-based decks, because zombies were another deck you were facing a lot of. Plus, in combination with Mally, if you didn't have a synchro play that turn, you could literally tribute the Mally, bring out Caius, banish something, attack. So very good, useful play there. Then you have your 3 Allure of Darkness, such a good draw card. Amazing, 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 amazing card. Your 3 Allure of Darkness before they got banned. Your 3D draw, like I talked about earlier, your more draw power for the deck. I've already touched on Allure of Darkness and D-Draw before, so that's why I'm speeding through this. Your 2 Reinforcement of the Army. I can't remember if Rhoda was at 3 or at 2 at the time, but I know that I've only needed 2. And when I looked at the ban list, I think there was only... I can't remember if Rhoda was at 3 or at 2, but I looked at all the deck profiles and everybody was just running 2 Rhoda. And it's really useful because you can search out your Armageddon Knight, your Dark Grepher, your Necro Gardener if you want to go with plays with that. A whole bunch of different things you can do with 3 Rhoda. Your Stratos, whatever. Your Doom Lord, things of that nature. Your 2 E-Tele, you only need 2, you don't need 3. Helps you go for synchro plays, you get where it does. Thinning out your deck, synchroing, searching, drawing. That's what this deck does. Your one of broken cards, your one brain control, which was actually legal still at this time, your one Monster Reborn, your one Cold Wave, your one Heavy Storm, and your one of Mystical Space Typhoon, which was at 1 at the time. So you had your one Mystical, that was at 1 still, your one Heavy was still at 1, Cold Wave was at 1 still, Monster Reborn, very good, and Brain Control. For Goyo Guardian, Brain Control, and Monster Reborn, because zombies were another prevalent deck at the time, you could easily go into these type of zombie synchro monsters by stealing their opponent's monster, and those are things like Revive King Hadass and Doom Kaiser Dragon. You could really go into these two guys by stealing your opponent's zombie monsters and just synchroing up with them to make your own powerful zombie type synchros. So those are your one-of spells. For your trap lineup, you run triple Solemn Judgment. Wins you games. Having Stardust Dragon out at that time and a Solemn Judgment set, you're golden, baby. You're not gonna. It's gonna be really hard for your opponent to break that lock. So triple Solemn Judgment, which was still a thing at the time. Your one Bottomless. Bottomless was at 3 at the time, but a lot of people didn't run it. But I do like it as a one-of personally. Your one Warrior Repression. A lot of people didn't run this. Some people ran it in their DAD decks. Some people did not run it in TeleDAD at the time in this November-December era when TeleDAD was at its prime. But I like it as a one-of. It's really useful. Your one Trap Dust Shoot, because that was at 1. And your one Crush Card Virus before the errata, back when Crush Card Virus pretty much was the most broken thing next to Sliced Bread. So yes, that is your trap lineup. On to the extra deck, guys. You have to keep in mind, like I said before, the synchros in that era were not a lot, so we have to go off what there was. For your level 5s, you run your Catastor, your Allied Justice of Catastor, which came out of Hidden Arsenal 1, and your Magical Android, which sometimes came in handy to regain life points after using Solemn Judgments. Then you have your 2 other synchro monsters for your level 6, your Revive King Hadass, my ulti one, and my Doom Kaiser Dragon, my ulti one. Pretty much these were used against the zombie matchup because zombies, light swarms, light swarms and zombies were the 2 other decks, as well as I think Gladiator Beast I think were around at that time. I can't remember, it's been so long ago. Especially zombies and that stuff were really what was around, so you could steal the monsters by Brain Control, Goyo Guardian, Monster Reborn, and make these guys just based off of that. And you had the extra deck room to do that. Then you have 2 Goyo Guardian. Definitely run your 2 Goyo Guardian. It's such a broken card. You literally can revive a Stardust Dragon off Goyo Guardian and have it on your field. Too good. Really, really powerful card. It will be the second most monster you make next to Stardust Dragon. Just letting you guys know that. Stardust Dragon and Goyo Guardian are the 2 main synchro monsters I always go for. We have 1 Flame Veil Quasar, 1 Psychic Life Trancer, 1 Dark Strike Fighter before the errata, so you could pretty much launch everything and end games. 1 Black Rose Dragon, as well as... I'll wait for that. So pretty much, this came out in Hidden Arsenal 1 along with Catastor. It was a pretty decent card that could come in handy. Life Trancer was a okay card. Dark Strike Fighter could end games for you, and Black Rose Dragon could blow up the field. So that's why you run those. Then you run your 2 Stardust Dragon, which is the monster you make the most of for your level 8s. Your Red Hat Dragon Archfiend, your Thought Ruler Archfiend, and your Colossal Fighter, which could do battle with many things and revive himself. And you had a lot of warriors in the deck, so that was there too. So those are your last rank 8 you run in your 15 card extra deck. So guys, I hope you guys all enjoyed this deck profile of my TeleDAD deck. I apologize if it was kind of hard to understand everything I was saying. I've been playing a lot with this deck online by playing my old DS game called Stardust Accelerator. Stardust Accelerator, where you can actually play TeleDAD on that game from that era, because it came out in like late 2008. But till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling. Hope you enjoyed this deck profile, this old school deck. This is one of the reasons why I took a break from the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in this time era, was because TeleDAD was out. That's why I took that 2-year break back in the day from 08 to 09, because I was like, I don't want to play with these expensive decks. But till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.